Hello, my name is Sensei Alex Kakuya, and I'm a teacher in the Bright Dawn Center of Oneness Buddhism. I'm also the author of the Buddhist blog, The Same Old Zen. The title of today's talk is Don't Be a Non-Player Character. So, when I was a kid, I enjoyed playing video games. Just to let you know how old I am, I started off with the Atari, worked my way up to the NES with the gray rectangle game controllers. Then there was the GameCube, PlayStation at one point, which was really great because they used a CD instead of a cassette. And after that, the gaming hobby started to get a little bit expensive. Couldn't convince my parents to pay $50 for one game cartridge. So my gaming days were over at that point, but I still enjoy watching other people play video games, and I kind of keep track of what's going on there. But my point, the reason I bring this up, is that when you play video games, there's something in them called NPCs, or non-player characters. And what these are characters in the game that don't have people controlling them. They're programmed by a computer and they're run by an AI. And these non-player characters could be enemies that try to kill you before you get to the castle. They could be players that give you directions on what to do on a quest. It doesn't matter. They can be anything. The point is they don't have a mind of their own. They can only do what they're programmed to do. No more, no less. And this is important to note because there are a lot of people who live their lives as non-player characters. That is, they're programmed and controlled by the three poisons: greed, anger, and ignorance. And they just act on their emotions without any thought to what they're doing or why or the consequences. And this can have very devastating results, which is why in Buddhism, these three items, greed, anger, and ignorance, are called the three poisons. And there's something we have to train ourselves not to give into. Just to give you an example of how this can work, I had an email at work earlier today, and it was bad news, because you get bad news sometimes in emails, and I was filled with a lot of anger as a result. And I was about to respond and send an angry email to my coworker, but then I stopped. And practicing right mindfulness, I investigated my emotions. I'm angry. Why am I angry? What am I about to do? What are the karmic consequences of these actions? And what I realized was, one, what I wanted to say in this email was not helpful. It would make things worse and not better. And two, I realized I wasn't actually angry about the news in the email. It was bad, but it wasn't that big a deal. The real reason I was angry is because I'd skipped lunch today due to a meeting, and I was hungry, or hangry as they call it, and it was making me grumpy, and I was about to lash out at this poor person just because I hadn't had my sandwich for the day. So, thankfully, I did not behave as a non-player character. I didn't give in to my anger. I investigated my emotions, looked at the karmic consequences of my actions, and instead of responding in that moment, I closed my laptop, I went to get some food, came back to work in a much better mood, and replied to the email in a way that was actually very helpful to the situation. So, again, this all circles back to right mindfulness, which is the seventh tenet of the Noble Eightfold Path, and really just means paying attention. Being here in this moment, seeing what's going on, and using that awareness to figure out what's the best course of action. And this is something that we can do anytime we're experiencing strong emotions: anger, greed, ignorance, sadness. If we take the time to practice mindfulness, investigate what we're feeling, and investigate what we want to do, whether it's good or bad in terms of the outcome, our lives become more peaceful and calm as a result. And life generally goes better than if we don't do these things. So to review, being a non-player character is bad. Practicing right mindfulness is good. Take the time to think through what we're trying to do and the reasons for what we're trying to do them, and things will end better as a result. So that's the talk for today. I hope it was helpful. If you'd like to read articles I've written about Buddhist practice, you can do that at my blog, The Same Old Zen, which is at sameoldzen.blogspot.com. If you're watching this on YouTube and you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. That way you'll be notified when I post talks in the future. And if you're watching on either Twitter or Facebook, you can share or retweet this post. That way we can all continue learning together. And of course, if you have follow-up questions, don't forget to email me at sameoldzen@gmail.com. So, until next time, Amitabha.